Well then, this will be a bit of an interesting video, isn't it? This is opinion about stuff. A little bit of Mr. Beast, about various stuff, or better title, my review on things, plus YouTuber that's too big to fail. Family and personal stakes. I honestly didn't notice that I've got 50 subscribers just yesterday until after the video, but thanks. However, this is a pretty super controversial video, so I'm writing it out so it has some clarity and structure. On Wednesday of 7th of August of 2024, I fell ill by some sort of cold. You could have seen that in the video. And still, I'm pretty feeling beat up, so I guess this will be a new way to make video. 2 years of unemployment, not able to find job. Thankfully, I am living with my grandma, who just doesn't understand current situation since her job ended in 2014, technically 2015, but that's an argumentative stretch. She holds naive beliefs about communist Czechoslovak Republic and communism because she was born in 1950s. Deep red. After all, USSR collapsed, Czechoslovak state split officially just a year later. None of the betrayals of that fact is that quite a lot of machinery that was in Slovakia vanished under mysterious circumstances or was taken to Czechoslovakia. Well, no matter. She was able to find various jobs, but she gained job in the end as an insurance agent in the now defunct Apollo Health Insurance Company that got bought by Duovera Health Insurance Company and kept her job as health insurance agent. This means since 1996 to 2014, she didn't have to search for a job until she retired. Now she lives on her pension and helps support me. In primary and high school in Slovakia, generally dysgraphic and dyslexic people are quite discriminated. Dysgraphic person is a person that has the issue with writing things. And sometimes you basically epsilon and normal I. And sometimes they can miss some sort of signs such as dot, explanation mark, and such things like that. So I am dysgraphic. So I have that, even though, well, from a point. Also the fact that many teachers were Roman Catholic, especially here in Košice, evangelical, that was bad in 2003 until 2016. I understand. Well, you can say that I first graduated from high school in Business Academy in Laval. That sounds pretty good, right? It's embarrassing to say anything about it because it closed down after 2017 budget reasons. It was first error that I didn't know they just doing me. This job searching loop. Because 2003 and 2015 there were not any, well, outside of cross and things like that, that do major, well, not the cross, like Omega, that do a majority accounting for you like now, that pretty much do automatic accounting. Then I had a try to go to Trenčín University of Alexander Dubček. Well, I got there. It was best because they don't care. And you could request a test, especially made for your disability. Of course, there were some respectable of teachers that respected it. Some didn't. But it was overall much better. Of course, I didn't know. I just doomed myself for over 2 years of job searching in the future because of my majors. I majored in, well, not public relations, but effectively in working as a public servant and management. Weird combo, but it could work. Maybe I could have become some sort of bureaucrat. Who knows? Gonna be boring. Like, I don't know, boredom. Well, Народный центр здравоохранения информации. That is important. Is NCZE for short. And well, I was able to get a job in Crystal Core shortly after I was ended. Basically, I got it in August of 2021. Fortunately, at first, we're tasked to help solve COVID pandemic. Many times the lines crashed. A border area in Slovakia was even more unstable early on because it was entered mainly separate from for information. Regional offices had authority over information in a border. 180 days block if you didn't come to PCR tests that were mandatory by границы specifically, and you can remove that block border. And there was various very high fines. I mean, it was 1,000, yes, 1,500 euros, which is pretty much equivalent. This isn't a joke. So average pay back then was something like $500, 500 or 600 bucks at most, actually, and not the 1,000 that was spouted. Well, this was a mess because it caused many people who came using it being blocked afterwards because they didn't understand properly. They have understood that, oh, I just need to do PCR test, and not understood that they should go to the test they were provided. Well, otherwise they could face various fines. It was very badly explained. And well, we couldn't explain to everyone at the same time. It was that crazy. There was an issue from Czech Republic, assigned birth numbers as well. And can you guess what system we use? Birth numbers as well. And there were a bit duplicates because since 1992 actually, assigned numbers that are by law both considered generated when registering either birth, in hospital or on taxi, etc. Or people who basically becomes basically users of social security. And however, they should have used their IDs or passport, and it blocked them. They didn't know that. After the situation with COVID calmed somewhat only in 2022, I was given various projects, helping Ukrainian refugees check if housing is available. Very few of them had, some didn't have, some just didn't have a responsibility over that anymore, like in Košice, for example. For Bila, basically it's a company that is publicly traded using stocks, basically and the privacy requests about their data. The worst part was brand Monitor that was created like it came from Shed. So it didn't exist before, and now it's almost gone. And returned is, well, there was Mr. Robert Rastislav Šivanik, a very famous man. Well, he was basically a creator of Slovakia. That was basically a memory coin of him, selling for $250 officially. They were selling it for $740. They had of course they were selling some medal. And of course there was another medal from 2023 Memoralia. Not 2023, basically from 2021. Well, this is their website now. It means it's still operational. Well, I wouldn't buy anything from a person. It's pretty poor. People were searching constantly, shut down phone calls. You can basically contact many of them. And many of them not reaching you in 10 seconds. It made it impossible to sell many of them. We had basically started getting quotas and were pressured extremely to get at least 1 or 2 coin an hour. I sold only around 14 and 17 coins top. I don't know the number of medals anymore. It was years ago. So I decided to pressure me to sign a deal to terminate the contract, because I mentioned it to them that these coins for this sort of price were pretty much unsellable, and that many of them who had them are able to buy it either from National Bank of Slovakia or other official sources for cheaper. And they were also requiring that you could only buy one of them per this sort of buying thing. I of course refused and worked a couple of days, and took the holiday leave for the rest of the term that I had there in August 2022. Of course, because it was basically due to first half a year and the second half a year. Because those 3 days I was searching for a job, but it was a dry desert jobs market. It was like warehouse workers and factory workers, and it is red line that will be crossed by someone who is going to mention. Of course, I went to office of social work and family affairs, basically úrad práce, sociálne veci a rodí. They are responsible for you keeping track if you are actually searching for a job, and if you are actually actively doing that. They were sending me all over the place many jobs that were even long filled, like even fucking museum in Trenčín, which is fucking weird that they didn't know that. Personally, I am not as regime when there is mishandling by them for more than take big time. They have all take, and on the day I had gotten sick, I guess on the train, I was meeting with one of the agents in Trenčín. It was, of course, on that Wednesday of 5th of August, but this year. One of their genius workers tried to convince me to either work in a warehouse or a factory. I said, why did I waste 5 years of college? She replies in a sense that all people become very lazy if you do not have a job when not working. It was very arrogant to me, because there was a line saying crossed by the fact that she would have also accept the job that she would do it. I also then mentioned accept this job, and I mentioned figure of Jew, and I mentioned that roughly within 5 years that in an argument that I shouldn't worry about it, but 5 years existence that replaces so many people, that is bad. In the end, she admitted that she was afraid for her kids and their future. Well, in the end, logic actually prevailed and not their ridiculous nonsense, because logic is always not logical, because that is fucking fallacy. You have to have some sort of basics for the world, such as laws of the universe at the very least. Now let's get to the stuff, about Mr. Beast, and this will be of course in the description down below. Well, this is the general information about Jimmy. You can find this sort of information everywhere. This is some sort of short snippet that I made about the fact that he is, actually John Donaldson, and this is pretty much clean way how he is known. Well, until pretty recently, even publicly. I always, however, thought, even years ago, that having challenges like that being presented and done are somehow wrong. And as far able to find that people seemed familiar multiple times, and of course they were. Many of them were actually employees of Mr. Beast, actually, and one of them was actually even his girlfriend. What a shock! Not rigged challenges at all. I'm not citizens of US, so don't say that I take it lightly. are prepared because Mr. Beast does do gambling, and I don't think that saying that basically do this and you have chance to win something that is monetary or to be able to be sold monetarily is pretty gambling, because it is. And if you do participate, you have to do all the things that heavily increase, heavily test your endurance and or your stress. Did you know, however, there is something called fairness and contest regulation? So, only in California, for example, the California Business and Professions Code section 1753(9) sets strict rules for contests and sweepstakes. It requires full disclosure of the rules, the odds of winning, and the value of the prizes. And this is not transparent about these tech aspects. And there's obvious bias because there are employees participating in these challenges. So basically there is effectively chosen victor prior to basically this video. There is also the Occupational Safety and Health Act, OSHA. This one is obvious. Many contestants were hurt from various challenges, and some of them have been either not treated well or haven't been properly fed. And some they were given some trickle down from high heaven, where Jim stands, because Jimmy, as a beast, has become too big to fail. Well, you know what I'm gonna say. Comment, like, subscribe, ring the bell, and maybe I'll try something like this next time. Just say it, I'll try.